Welcome back to Cloud 2K. Now we have an article reaction. It's been a long time. I figured trying to get outside of some more 2K content because who loves 2K? I don't really know. But Bleacher Report released this article. I figured we'd talk about it. 5 players most likely to demand a trade during the 2025-2026 NBA season. Obviously, they have LeBron. They have Giannis on the cover. I'm hoping to talk about Giannis now because I don't see LeBron going anywhere. But obviously, the big Giannis stuff going on. Let's see who Bleacher Report thinks will get traded. A new NBA season always brings a ton of fresh developments to track with it. That includes a list of trade request candidates. Players try orchestrating exits from their current digs for all sorts of reasons. Contract status, proximity to, higher play, okay, blah, 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 whatever. They put a little thing about the Kings on there. Cool. All right, number one, obviously was going to be Giannis Antetokounmpo for Milwaukee Bucks. It's been brewing for about a season or two now, especially after Damian Lillard gets waived for Miles Turner. Let's see, waiving and stretching Damian Lillard, signing Miles Turner, and bringing back Giannis Antetokounmpo are not moves the Milwaukee Bucks make without believing Giannis Antetokounmpo is committed to them through the season. Yeah, because they're gonna be really, really bad this year. In reality, they have bought themselves time, a runway to show their two-time MVP that they have an instant or imminent line to a championship contention. Nowhere in the non-existent superstar rulebook does it say Giannis has to give them the entire year. If the Bucks season goes off the rails before the calendar flips to 2026, he may not see value in waiting around for the summer just because the team will have up to 3 first-round picks to trade. So, I mean, yeah, that's fair. Like, Giannis seems to be a guy that's pretty loyal to Milwaukee. I think he loves Milwaukee, wants MVP there, won Depoy there, won a championship there. I don't see any reason, I think he probably does stay. I think the chance of Giannis leaving is maybe like 15% at the absolute maximum. I think that's if they are bad and they decide, listen, we got to figure out what's best for this team for the future. Now, you would think what's best for the team is having a top 3 player in the entire world play for them. But again, NBA is a business. Maybe they have to move on. I just don't really see Giannis getting traded. I don't think he requests a trade either. I'd actually be very, very shocked if Giannis walked in and requested a trade from the Milwaukee Bucks. He seems like one of those guys, like a Steph Curry, a Booker, a Kobe, that is going to be a lifelong Milwaukee Buck, and I think he notices the value in that. Now, the reports were that his wife and kids went back to Greece, so I don't know what that's about. There were reports that if you were to leave Milwaukee, New York would be the team you want to go to play for the Knicks, but apparently they talked about that and they couldn't really get a trade package figured out. I figured it would have to be Cat, probably Mikal Bridges as well, maybe, or Cat or OG Anunoby, I don't really know. So, whoever trades for Giannis Antetokounmpo is going to gut their team to get him, and you're almost going to get back right into the same position you are with Milwaukee. Number 2, LeBron James to the Lakers. Okay, contract negotiations between LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers prior to him picking up his player option this past summer got awkward, largely because it doesn't sound like there were any. The version of events tracks why the 4-time MVP's agent Rich Paul made, thanks for the memories, even if they weren't all great, type comments back in June. Everything seems hunky-dory on the surface entering the season, and yet President of Basketball Operations Rob Pelinka was nothing if not non-committal about LeBron James' future during his pre-training camp media availability. I mean, okay, yeah, the timeline now has got completely shifted from the 40-year-old LeBron to the 26, 27-year-old Luka Doncic, and, LeBron still is probably a top 15 player in this league and should be around that this season, so there's not really a world where you trade LeBron and get anything better. You might get some players to fill out your roster, maybe have a better all-around roster, but you're not going to get a player as good as LeBron James. Now, he is making a lot of money, and I know some Lakers fans have turned on LeBron James, whether it is, just his age, hey, man, it's almost time to hang it up, or the money he's making for how he plays. Maybe they just don't see it being worth it. I don't think LeBron gets traded. I just don't think there's ever a world where LeBron James, an inarguable top 3 player, maybe even best player of all time, gets traded. I just don't see it happening. I don't think LeBron's going to request a trade. He is a guy that is going to leave in free agency if that is the case. But I do think this is the end for LeBron James. I think we have 1-2 seasons max left, with LeBron James being in the NBA. I don't think he's going to be on a different team one of those years, too. I think he's going to be in LA to finish out his career, because I think he's more focused right now on after basketball. Now, how do you feel about that as him as a player? That's understandable, but I think LeBron James is going to retire a Laker. Number 3, Jonathan Kuminga. I mean, sure, I guess we're using the word star a little loosely. Oh, it doesn't say, it's just 5 players. Okay, I thought it said star. I was like, okay. But Jonathan Kuminga, I mean, yeah, for sure. Whether Jonathan Kuminga has the cachet to ask for a trade is debatable. Whether he has the self-belief is not. A continuous stalemate between he and the Golden State Warriors this summer ended with a bizarrely worded breaking news tweet from ESPN Shams Charania detailing a contract that exists to be moved. Kuminga signed a 2-year deal with a team option 2026-2027 while waiving his implicit no-trade clause. Golden State will almost assuredly look to jettison the soon-to-be 23-year-old once his restriction lifts on January 15th, except this seems like a classic get you before you get me situation. I mean, yeah, like, these guys have not gotten along for a couple of years now. They just can't really seem to figure out. Jonathan Kuminga wants to be a bigger part of the offense. Steve Kerr does not want him to be a bigger part of the offense. Jonathan Kuminga is also super limited on what he can do on the offensive side of the ball. As a cutter, very, very good. He can slash. He's a good slasher. Outside of that, his offensive game has a lot to be desired. His defense has a lot to be desired. He wants to be a guy that gets a lot of touches a game, but it just doesn't work in an offense that centers around Steph Curry, and it shouldn't. Steph Curry is one of the best players of all time. The offense should still be centered around him because he is still an elite level player. Now they have Jimmy Butler there, obviously Draymond Green's there. Like the idea of Jonathan Kuminga getting a lot of touches on the team doesn't really make sense unless it is in the second unit, but he wants to be a starting guy. Like, the two versions of what they want to each be does not line up with each other, so it makes sense you're going to move on from them. They've been trying to do this two-timeline thing between Steph, Clay, and Draymond, and then Jonathan Kuminga, James Wiseman, Moses Moody, and it really wasn't working out. Obviously, Wiseman had his injuries. He's out of there. Klay Thompson's out of there. Moody's just kind of turned himself into like a fine role player. Kuminga's the guy that's like, he wants to still be a star player, and he's like, hey, if you give me the opportunity on the court, I will show you I am that. But they don't want to give him the opportunity, so he might be a guy that just has to go get his bag elsewhere. He got his 2-year deal, a 1+1 with a team option. If they trade him and he goes to a team that balls out, they pick up his player option or his team option. I don't really know. Maybe they decline it, sign it to a long-term deal if he goes to another team and they like him. I don't know, but yeah, there was talks that they just didn't want to trade him, which is like, you don't want to give up a guy you took a top 10 pick on. Like, what was he? 7, I think. Like, you took him as a top 10 pick. You don't want to trade him for just nothing. Obviously, you don't want to lose him because he might have value to somebody, but there's no way it's a lot right now. Number 4, Domantas Sabonis. Okay, this is an interesting one because we heard about this earlier in the offseason and then nothing came about it. Sabonis said back in March he would seek clarity about the Sacramento Kings' plans over the summer. It is not clear how that discussion went or if it actually took place. Even if they did and the Kings have made their plans perfectly clear, they have no plan. I mean, yeah, they have it for a long, long time now. Sacramento's roster is light on wings and completely bereft of dependable backup bigs. I don't even know if I said that word right. Okay. Sabonis himself asked for a point guard, and the Kings delivered to Dennis Schroeder, a perfectly serviceable, not really a point guard. With all due respect to Doug Christie, who may turn out to be a brilliant head coach, their franchise search for Mike Brown's permanent replacement was either performative or an outright farce. Sabonis has to know he's on a sinking ship. Okay. I mean, the thing is with the Sacramento Kings is obviously you have a team of Schroeder, Malik Monk, Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, and Sabonis as your starting lineup. You have Keegan Murray in there as well, who's like really your only somewhat good young asset. I mean, Devin Carter's been playing fine, so I guess maybe there is that as well. But this seems like obviously not good enough to go anywhere outside of the play-in. And I'm sure Sabonis doesn't want to be stuck on that kind of mediocrity for the rest of his career. I don't know. I think at least two of those 3 of LaVine, actually no, 2 of the 4 of Monk, LaVine, DeRozan, and Sabonis need to be going by the trade deadline. It ended up might being Sabonis and Malik Monk, because Malik Monk feels like a guy that could get moved to a team. Zach LaVine feels like a guy that could get moved to a team. DeMar DeRozan, he might just be there, unfortunately. There's also real world where Sabonis just is there, and he is their cornerstone franchise piece until they figure out what's around him. I don't think he's the number 1. I don't know where he goes to fit into. That's the thing with Domantas Sabonis. What's a team that could use a Domantas Sabonis archetype that's not a great defender, is a plus passer, but it's like he kind of needs to be the offensive hub or else he's not as useful on the offensive side of the ball. There's not a lot of places right now on competent NBA teams that could kind of use a guy like Sabonis. As good as he is, he's just kind of a weird fitting player. He's in the same mold as Jokic and Sengun. He's just not on that level. So if you're not on that high level of that kind of thing, it doesn't quite work as well. We saw with Sengun where he's getting to that level now, so it's working out, but it's kind of a weird center role if you're not an elite player. So I just don't know where Sabonis could even go. Last, but certainly not least, is Zion Williamson. Okay. Building the list and not including Zion Williamson would be flat out reckless. I wasn't even thinking about Zion, so I guess that's on me. Staying healthy and leading the New Orleans Pelicans to a top 6 spot in the Western Conference is the only scenario in which a 25-year-old escapes trade requests. Watch. 25, man. I remember watching him in high school. 25 is crazy. We can envision him being available enough to drive winning because it's happened once or twice before. The problem is the Pelicans aren't built to win even if he's available. I've been saying this for a long time. I'm not very high on the Pelicans. They have no primary playmakers beyond Williamson. A center rotation that's bad. I mean, yeah, this is just going to be a bad team. Like, a lot of people are always super high on the Pelicans. I just don't see it. When you draft Jeremiah Fears, cool. You have DeJounte Murray, who's going to be, I think, hurt to start the season. You trade for Jordan Poole. cool. Some people are really, really high on Trey Murphy. I think he's good, but I'm not as high on other people are on Trey Murphy. They trade for Derek Queen. They trade their first round pick next year for a guy in Derek Queen who might not even be there to start the season. You have Yves Missy, you bring in Kelly Olynyk, bring in Kevon Looney. It's just like you have Herb Jones, who's one of the better perimeter defenders in the NBA. Jordan Hawkins. Like, they have a lot of pieces, but it's just not all working together right now. And not really any of those guys so far have taken a step to be like, okay, I am the certified number 2 next to Zion Williamson. Maybe it is a Trey Murphy. I don't really know. But you got to think a guy of Zion Williamson's magnitude of a star player would want to be in a winning situation. Now, this is the first year of him being like actually skinny, so we'll see if Zion being skinny can help him be healthy. Because if we can have at least 65, we just need 65 games of Zion Williamson consistently, and I'd be okay with that. We don't need him playing 82 as much as you'd like him playing 82. If we can get year in, year out, 60 to 70 games of Zion Williamson a year, I think that's a guy you can start building around. He's still only 25, so I just don't really know. I would like him on a team with a elite playmaker. Like him and Trae Young, I've always been a fan of. That's not going to happen at this point in time, I don't think. I don't really know. I don't really know where he could go at this point in time, because I feel like a lot of the elite playmakers kind of have their teams that they don't really want to trade for Zion Williamson. I think Zion's still very, very good. I've been a big believer of Zion Williamson his whole career. He's still like a 27-point scorer and like 60-something% from the floor when he's healthy. He's a dominant force. It's just been the health. We all know that. Well, shout out my guy, Dan Favell, for 5 players most likely to demand a trade during the 2025-2026 NBA season. I'm trying to think if there's any other guys off the top of my head that could maybe demand a trade. And I mean, I'm not really thinking of it. I'm sure there's somebody glaring right there that I'm just not seeing. But I don't know. I don't really see anybody, at least a high-level player, demanding a trade at this point in time. I think everybody's pretty consistent in what they are. But I do appreciate you guys watching. If you like more of these article reactions, I can do more. It's so much fun to do these. Kind of just sit down and talk basketball. But please go down and hit the like, comment, subscribe button. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers, and I can't do it without each and every one of you. I love you guys, and I'll see you later. Peace.